Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life by Brian Tracy. Chapter 9, Unleash Your Mental Powers. Part C. The potential of the average person is like a huge ocean unsailed, a new continent unexplored, a world of possibilities waiting to be released and channeled towards some great good. Brian Tracy. Why companies fail. Many people go broke, especially in entrepreneurial ventures, because the market is simply not large enough for them to sell enough to justify the trouble and expense of producing the product or service in the first place. Every investment must be compared with other possible investments that are available at the same time. There may be better places to put your time and money. This principle applies to you personally, as well. Your job is to invest yourself so that you are getting the highest return on energy. There are 1,000 different ways that you can spend your time and your life. You yourself are your most valuable resource, and you must always invest this resource where you can get the highest return. The third question I ask my clients is, if there is a market, and the market is large enough, is the market concentrated enough so that you can advertise and sell to it in a cost-effective way? This final question is what often sinks a new product idea. Yes, there is a market, and yes, the market is large enough, but the market is spread over such a wide geographical area that it is virtually impossible to sell to it effectively. Consider the constraints. A good way to trigger creative solutions to your problems is to apply the theory of constraints. This theory says that, in every process or series of activities, there is a limiting factor. There are constraints or bottlenecks that determine the speed at which you get from where you are to where you want to go. The very act of identifying the critical constraints in your environment often triggers ideas and insights that help you to alleviate them. For example, let us say that your goal is to double your income over the next 3 to 5 years. You begin identifying the constraints on achieving this goal by asking, why isn't my income twice as high already? Be honest. Ask yourself the brutal questions, why aren't you already earning twice as much as you are earning today? What is holding you back? Of all the things that are holding you back, what is the major limiting factor that will determine how fast you achieve your goal? Apply the 80-20th rule. The 80-20th rule seems to apply to constraints, but in a special way. In this context, this rule says that 80% of the constraints that are holding you back from achieving your goal are inside yourself. They are contained within you, rather than in your environment. Only 20% of the factors that are holding you back are in the outside world. This discovery is a shock to most people. The vast majority of people think that their major problems are created or caused by situations and people around them. But this is usually untrue. Most of the reasons why you are not moving ahead have to do with your own lack of skills, ability, or good personal qualities. Double your income. Let us say that you are in sales. You want to double your income in the next 3 to 5 years, if not sooner. The first critical constraint you will identify is the amount of your product or service that you have to sell. If you could resolve this problem, you would achieve your goal. Once you have identified this main constraint, you then ask, what is the constraint behind that? Your next constraint could be the number of prospects that you have to find. If you could speak to enough prospects, you could probably double your sales and double your income. You then look behind that constraint and ask what is the constraint that is causing this limitation. This actual constraint may be your ability to prospect, something that is inside of you rather than in the marketplace. Look around you. One good way for you to determine whether the constraint is internal or external is to look around you and see if anyone else is accomplishing the same goals that you want to accomplish. Is anyone else already earning twice as much as you are earning selling the same product or service in the same market? If someone is already doing it, then the constraint is internal, not external. It is something inside you. It is the lack of a particular ability or attribute that you need to overcome. It has been said, when a man's fight begins with himself, he is really worth something. The superior person always asks the question, what is it in me that is holding me back? Superior people always look to themselves first. It may very well be that there is something in your outside world that is acting as the brake on your potential, but the place to start looking is inside. The odds are you'll find it there. Pull the triggers. When you pull these triggers regularly, you will be stimulating your creative ability and switching on your mental lights, like turning up the lights in a dark room with a dimmer switch. When you set clear goals that you have a burning desire to achieve, you activate your creative mind. When you combine your goals with pressing problems, clearly defined, you generate more ideas. When you continually ask focused questions that provoke your thinking, you see more and better possibilities in every situation. And when you identify your key constraint to achieving any goal or solving any problem, you begin to perform like a genius. You put yourself onto the high road of success and great achievement. Use all your intelligence. You have at least 10 different forms of intelligence, according to the research of Howard Gardner at Harvard and the work of Charles Handy in England. Throughout your schooling, you were tested only on the basis of your verbal and mathematical intelligences. But research in the past few years indicates that you have a variety of intelligences, in any one of which you could be a genius. In combination, they enable you to accomplish extraordinary things. Your first job is to identify your predominant intelligence or intelligences. You then apply yourself using more of that intelligence in whatever it is you are trying to achieve. Verbal intelligence. Your first intelligence is verbal. This is your ability to speak, your command of language. The ability to understand and to use language well is closely associated with success in any field that involves communication with others. In every society, there is a direct relationship between your level of fluency in your language and your income. You can actually increase your prospects and your rate of promotion just by learning and using more words. Each word is actually a tool for the expression of thought. The more words you know and understand, the more complex thoughts and ideas you can form. The better your vocabulary, the more respected and listened to by others you will be. This is why language skills are considered a key measure of intelligence.